Everybody. I am Lisa Schmucke. I am the founder of EdWeb, and I'm really glad you're here for this presentation from Illume Learning on how to create great courses with Illume, the world's largest database of learning materials. It's going to be presented by Dr. Diane Quant, Associate Professor of Education for the College of New Rochelle, and she's going to show you exactly how Illume Learning works. And it's a new free resource and platform for educators. So now I'm really delighted to introduce Dr. Diane Quant. She's been an Associate Professor of Education at the College of New Rochelle for more than 20 years. She holds a BA from Vassar College, an MS from Syracuse University in Special Education, and a Master of Education and Educational Doctorate from Teachers College of Columbia University in Reading and Learning Disabilities and Special Education. So Diane, welcome to our EdWeb presentation today.
Thank you for that lovely introduction, Lisa. And thank
I'm going
you
to
all
drop
for
off and leave the show to you.
Okay.
All right. So thank you
Good.
very much for joining us and giving us this wonderful presentation today.
Okay, thank you. Today we're going to talk about Illume Learning, and you can find the site by going to illumelearning.org. Let me start out by explaining the problem that we have as instructors in creating great courses and how Illume will provide a solution. We know that designing courses is enormously time-consuming and it doesn't always yield great results. We, as instructors, sometimes rely on textbooks that often fail to engage our students. Supplemental stimulating learning materials are often absent from course design, and a big problem is that students often have to pay more than needed for textbooks. The cost of textbooks has skyrocketed. We really need to be sensitive to the cost of books and college materials in general, as many of our students struggle financially. Illume Learning can help, and it's free. It provides a platform where you can streamline the course creation process. It helps to shorten your preparation time, and you'll be able to find more interesting materials which will yield more interesting courses for your students. You can give your students options for saving money as well. So in this webinar, what I'd like to do is walk you through Illume's principal features and then provide an example of how you might create a course using Illume's features. First of all, Illume is designed for university instructors, but it's also very helpful for high school teachers. It has the largest database of learning materials available in the world. It is free, as I have said. It is free for instructors, for teachers, for students, for everybody. It is free. It has the largest selection of syllabi, of reading lists, and course notes that are available. And it has these really, really helpful filters and search tools which will allow instructors to quickly and easily find exactly what they need for their courses. In addition, Illume offers a comprehensive listing of textbooks and trade books. It helps you to compare the tables of contents of various textbooks and trade books. It shows you sample pages, and you can also see if your library carries a copy of the book that you're interested in. Illume will help guide you to find less expensive alternatives to the highly priced textbooks. Illume allows you to view many, many case studies in various fields of teaching. Illume will help you sort through articles from 65 major newspapers and 140 magazines. It offers excellent simulations and problem sets, and many of these are free as well. There are some more terrific features, including stimulating videos that are on Illume, as well as incorporating the free Khan Academy tutorials. Illume has a feature for saving materials. I'll talk more about this feature for saving materials later in the presentation, but just know that this is a great feature of Illume. So Illume offers a smart and efficient way for you to create your courses. Let me walk you through the actual site. And remember, it's illumelearning.org on the internet. Okay. So here's what it looks like when you open up the site. You'll see on the upper right-hand corner a login box. So you want to log in and set up an account. This is free and no credit cards needed. You do not have to set up an account, but it's to your advantage to do that. If you set up the account, don't forget to save your password. That's always an issue. When you set up an account, it allows you to save the materials that you find and may want to use in your courses. If you choose not to set up an account, you're still able to search through the site and explore what it offers, but you can only save your materials if you set up an account. Setting up the account is quick, it's very easy, takes just a very short time. Also on this page, you'll notice in the center there is a box that says 38 ways to build a great course. In this section, you'll find a helpful document that will guide you in general features of building your course. So that's very useful. Going on, you see that when you open up Illume, you land on a page that looks like this. On the upper left-hand side, under number 1, it asks you to type in a search term. So in this particular case, on the upper left, I'm going to search under calculus. Okay, that's going to be my course title. You could type in a topic within a course, but in this case, I'm typing in calculus. Next, I want to select a category of materials, and you'll see in the middle part of the screen, highlighted in red, that there are 16 categories of materials displayed. Take a quick look at this variety of materials here. I like to start, when I'm creating a course, looking at syllabi and looking at reading lists, kind of in the middle of this listing. And starting out with these two categories, I'm able to see what my colleagues are doing when they're organizing their courses on this topic. I'm able to see learning materials that they are assigning. After that, I may go to books. I may check out the case studies. I might look at the Khan Academy videos. There's a set of learning materials for newspapers, for magazines, for journal articles, for simulations and videos. So there's a whole range of learning materials here. Finally, I may go to the lecture presentations for additional ideas and find some slide presentations. For some of these categories of learning materials, you'll be asked to further narrow your search. For example, under newspapers, there are 65 newspapers to choose from. And you can see some of them listed up here. Okay. Let me go back to the search box at the top of our main page. And here I've identified another course title of corporate finance. That will be my search term. Okay. First, I'm going to look in the category of syllabi. That's usually a good place to start, as I said. I can determine what topics I might like to teach, and after seeing what other people are doing and putting together a lot of ideas. Illume offers over 1 million syllabi in all areas of teaching. I think that after I click on syllabi, I think that this particular syllabus that I've identified under corporate finance is one that looks interesting. So what I can do is hit the view button immediately to the left of the title, below that turquoise page icon, and I can immediately go and I can view this syllabus. Okay, so here's the syllabus that I identified. It opens in another tab, be aware of that. It has all the pages in the syllabus, all the information. Here I've shown you a few of the pages, all the different parts of the syllabus. Interesting to see. So I decide I like the syllabus and I want to hold on to it. I want to review it more thoroughly. So back on my main screen here, I go into the syllabus and I mark for review. That's the button on the right side of the screen called Mark for Review. I go back to Illume Learning, as I said. I click on this button for the particular syllabus, and then I get a pop-up screen that appears. And this is a screen that will allow me to save that particular syllabus and hold on to it. So on this screen, you see there's a title and there's a hyperlink box. I can use the title provided for the syllabus, and I can add more identifying information to that title. I can change the title, can do whatever I like. The hyperlink is already inserted, so I don't have to touch that at all. So here I click the Save button, and I can easily go back to it. Okay, it's saved in my and it's marked in my review folder. I can't tell you how much time I've spent over the years looking for material on the internet, only to lose track of the material when I want to find it again weeks later. So here it's saved. It's in. It's right in my review folder, so it's there. Okay, let's go back to the top of the main page. All I need to do is go up to the review folder at the top of that page. I switch on to the review button, and then I can click into it, and I can see my syllabus. There it is. For me, this is a great feature, and there are many cool things about Illume, including this feature that I can save my materials for later on. Remember, Illume is absolutely free. You don't have to pay for this. And also, another great feature is that I have access to an enormous database of learning materials. They're right here at my fingertips. Okay. Let's go back to the search box and look at syllabi in that category again. I'm still using the course title of Corporate Finance for my search term. Here I want to show you how I switch my filter to the Open Syllabus project. The filter is on the left side of the screen. I click on Open Syllabus project, and I go to a new tab on this internet site. The Open Syllabus project is a helpful source, and it allows me to see the popularity of individual books used in syllabi. On this site, I can't see the actual syllabi, but I can see the books and the popularity of the books, the ranking of the books that are used in various syllabi. This site is a not-for-profit organization, and it has over 1 million syllabi collected on this database. So here's an example of a book that I found on corporate finance on the Open Syllabus Explorer. It is not a very popular book. It only appears 10 times in about 1 million syllabi that they have on their site, and I will keep that in mind when I'm creating my own course. Open Syllabus Explorer gives you information on other books, and these might also pop up in my search. Okay, so moving on, back to our page, our main page here. After viewing syllabi, I might want to look into books on my topic. Most instructors still use a lot of and rely on textbooks in their courses. In this search, I'm going to switch to organic chemistry as my search topic, my course title actually at the top of the page. Illume Learning offers this great tool to find the right textbook at the right price. So going into organic chemistry, I'm looking for a book, and I see that there are 4 different ways on Illume, illumelearning.org. There are 4 different ways to find books. The first way is searching through Amazon, and that's our default book source here. The other 3 ways are using Google Books, WorldCat, and the Book Depository. These are all filters on the left side of the page. I know that Amazon is always a good place to start when looking for books. It has a great search tool, and it provides clear descriptions of books. So the textbook Organic Chemistry pops up on the bottom here. It's one that is interesting to me. I see the textbook highlighted in red. It's Organic Chemistry by David Klein. And I could immediately mark it for review on the right side of the page, and I could hold on to it in my review folder, or I could take a look right now and view it to see it on Amazon, which is what I'm going to do. So let's view it. And here's what the book looks like on Amazon, our familiar Amazon page. And I can read the book description. I can scroll down, and there's a lot of information, as you all know, on Amazon for books. I can see the price up here. On the left, underneath the cover of the book on organic chemistry, you'll notice that I've highlighted in red the ISBN number for this book. Okay, I've captured that number, and I'm going back to my search page, and with the captured number, I can enter it into my search box on my main screen here, and I can locate that exact book on organic chemistry. The best way is to put in the ISBN number, as there are many books with that title. So with that ISBN number that I got from Amazon, I can search again for more information on those other databases that I showed you. Okay, Google Books is a good place to go. You can preview pages on Google Books and really get a better feel for this textbook. Amazon doesn't always provide that depth of information, doesn't always provide preview pages. So here on Google Books, I'm going to see what they show me. So here I am on Google Books. I can see the cover of my organic chemistry textbook. I can see that there are preview pages that look interesting and appealing, and they have sidebars, and they have charts, and they have definitions. Looks like a good text. Here's another page. Google Books typically provides about 20 to 30 pages for you to preview on the books, and that's really handy. So going back to my main screen, I want to show you another source of books, and that's on my filters on my left side of the page. WorldCat, the third one down, is a database of books and articles operated by a not-for-profit, a nonprofit, OCLC. Okay. This database is great for a number of things. It provides listings of university libraries that carry the book. It provides tables of contents. It often provides tables of contents, not for every single book, but mostly. It's good for comparing textbooks when you have the table of contents in particular. You can use WorldCat also if you want to consider using an older edition of a book and seeing if it's virtually the same in the coverage of topics. You can get into that and take a look at that. Providing an older version of a book is always less expensive for our students. WorldCat also provides links to publishers, and this is sometimes but not always available on WorldCat. It gets you there, and from the publisher's site, you can get more information on the book, this particular book, we can see from WorldCat is a book that, this is what it looks like on WorldCat. And here you can view all the editions and the formats through WorldCat. At the bottom, you can find a copy in your library. Here shows the libraries that have this book. If your students are not buying the book, you want to help them find a library where they can find the book. It also provides a table of contents for this book on organic chemistry, very handy. It provides the website for the publisher, which is highlighted at the bottom. And here it is. Here's our book on Wiley. This is the publisher. Okay. And from this website here, the Wiley website, you can easily request your free examination copy, and you can get more information from the particular publisher on this book. Okay. So here we are back at our page on books. We're still searching for information on books. And here I'm going to search in this category, and I'm going to look at the book depository filter on the bottom. Okay, the book depository is a UK book distributor, and it offers international editions of textbooks. They're often cheaper than the US editions. The book depository provides free shipping and handling worldwide, so that is not an issue. So that's another place to find information on the book that you're interested in. Okay, so we're going back to our Illume page at the start here, and I'm going to switch my search term to brand management. Okay, I want to find case studies to share in a course on brand management. And Illume is a great place to find case studies. Okay, we know that case studies capture student interest. They help them see real-world applications of concepts. They help them make connections. Case studies are frequently used in business. This is an example in business, but we know that case studies are also used in environmental studies, in science, in ethics, in law, in sociology, in many areas of teaching. So here I'm going into the case study section of learning materials from Illume Learning, and I open up case studies, and I see there are 4 filters on the left side. Always go to the left. This is a very comprehensive listing of case studies with these 4 filters. The first source is the database Business School Publishers. This is recommended, and our default on this filter is the Kellogg School of Management at Northwestern University. I see that there's a second source of case studies up at the top. The second source I want to point out is the External Business School Publishers. Here I'll find case studies that are published by the External Business School Publishers listed at the bottom, including Darden from the University of Virginia Business School, Harvard Business School, MIT, and a few others down there. Okay. I want to note at this point that Illume Learning is not able to search on some of the actual sites, but it provides a link to the site. So Harvard is one of the sites that Illume is not able to actually search in. I've identified here a case in the middle called Renewing the Nissan Brand, and this is from the Darden Business Publishing site. And I can click through to see this case study by clicking on the review button, the view button on the left, or if I want to just save it and go back to it later, I click on the Mark for Review button on the right. So those 2 buttons, View on the left and Mark for Review on the right. Okay. When I return to my case study sources, I can also look at external non-business school publishers, another filter on the left. Illume Learning is stronger in some areas of case studies than others. Okay. Here's a listing of the non-business school case studies on Illume. I see that case studies are available in a range of disciplines. They're identified by my filters on the left. I can look through these. Okay. And the one in the middle of the screen is one I've identified to look into. Okay, let's shift a little bit from the materials available on Illume, and I want to point out now that there's another feature. If I want to save materials that are on another site, that I have found on another site on my topic, I can easily put those materials into my review folder here on Illume. I go to the top of my main page where it says Add Your Own Materials, and I click on that, and this is a really, really handy feature of Illume. Okay? I click on that Add Your Own Material, and I come to this pop-up window, and this is where I will copy the URL of my material from a third-party site. I paste it into the hyperlink box, and I give it a title. You can see an example here. This is a material that I found on another site, not on Illume site, but I can save it in my category on Illume site under brand management. So I enter a title for the material, and then I can hit the preview button, and I can check and see that my material is there. And I can save it in my review folder. It's right here with my other materials. This is a very, very helpful feature on Illume. It's great when I'm creating new courses or when I'm updating existing courses and I'm finding materials all over the place and trying to organize them and save them in a logical way. This is a solution for that. Okay, here we are back to our main Illume screen, and I want to look at another category of materials here on Illume. Let me type in as my search term quadratic formula. In this case, I'm going to search under that search term, and I'm going to look into the Khan Academy videos and tutorials. Okay. Khan Academy, as many of you know, is just a terrific source for short videos, short tutorials. It covers a variety of topics now, and they go beyond the math and science topics that it originally started with. It's a great resource if my students get stuck and they need further explanation on a topic. Here I'm doing a search on quadratic formula using Khan Academy. I see there are lots of tutorials. So I pick this one and I go into it. I preview it, I check it out, and I consider what I want to do. Do I want to mark it for review? And I can go back to my screen here and I can save it. I can save it using the Mark for Review button. Easily hold on to it. I don't have to search all over again to find this exact video. Khan Academy has a lot of videos, so this is one I really like. I want to hold on to it. The pop-up window appears, so I can save this material. And as I had said before, the hyperlink gets pasted in automatically on the pop-up window, and the title is pasted in. I can add information to the title. I can change the title if I want to, but it's here and it's saved. Okay. Now I'm turning to the simulation category. I am going to look at the learning materials that are available in the area of simulations. I'm going to stick with quadratic formula for this example. Okay, we're going to go here, and going straight to the filters on the left side of my screen, I want to choose one of these sources that's best suited for my needs. Okay. Illume offers a wide variety of simulations, sources of simulations, and Here's a good example of a simulation on quadratic functions from PET, P-H-E-T, Interactive Solutions. That's at the bottom of the filters box. This happens to be the default for simulations, and it's a very good source for sciences. Here's one that looks interesting to me that I found called projectile motion. I click through to take a look at it. Here's the opening screen, and here's the actual simulation. I check it out, and I think my students might really get a kick out of watching this. Okay? I will mark it for review, and I'll hold onto it in my review folder. And I've spent time, I've found it very easily here. Okay, here I want to show you another topic. I go back to my main screen, and I'm switching to another category, newspapers and articles, and I've switched also my search term. I know that I want my students often to keep up with news, to learn about topics, contemporary topics. Here I'm searching under the topic of gravitational waves, and I want to check out what newspaper articles might be available. So I know that that under gravitational waves, there has been a discovery recently that these waves are these waves confirm Einstein's general theory of relativity. If I'm teaching a course on physics or on astronomy, I might want my students to know about this important discovery, which has been in the news. So here I'm using the category of newspapers on Illume. I go into it. First of all, I need to, in this category, search for the actual newspaper I am interested in looking into, and in this case, I'm picking the New York Times here, and checking to see if it's covered gravitational waves, and it has. An article pops right up, and I can take a look at that article here on the New York Times. Okay, I could hold it for review and look at it later, or I could click right through as I'm doing here and view it immediately. I noticed that the New York Times is offering a video with the text, so I will save both the video and this screen with the text and provide it for my students. Go back and save it under Mark for Review. Okay. Here I've gone back to my main page, sticking with the same search category, the same search title of gravitational waves, and I want to look in magazine articles. Okay. Sticking with this same topic and going to magazines, I know there are 140 magazines that are provided on Illume, and I first need to search and select the actual magazine I want to go into. So here at the top you see that as I type in American, what pops up is American Prospect, American Speculator, and I'm looking for American Scientist, and there it is. Okay. I can see the results for this particular magazine. I see an article. I can click through to read the article right now. Or I can just hold on to it and mark it for review. Okay. Moving along on gravitational waves, I want to look into journal articles. And that's another category among the 16 categories. I go back to my main screen, click on that to see what might be there in journal articles. So let me click on that. And here's another example of searching for materials on my topic of gravitational waves using journal articles this time. The journal articles happen to be the weakest area, the weakest category on Illume Learning. And that's because 95% of journal publications are behind paywalls. You have no access, we have no access to them, we can't search for them using Illume. Illume Learning however, does offer two good ways to research journal articles. In this example at the top, I've selected JSTOR. JSTOR is a not-for-profit database with many free journal articles. They are mostly older articles, and JSTOR is strongest in the area of the humanities. Okay. Another area that Illume helps you with is WorldCat, and on WorldCat you can find listings of journal articles, and that is very helpful. The short description that's provided of a journal article on WorldCat can actually give you enough information to know whether you want to hunt for that journal article or drop it. So WorldCat is a great source for listing of journal articles. It doesn't provide the actual articles, but a short description. And typically you can read the description and decide if you're interested. You can then go to your university library and find where, which library, if your library has that journal publication, or which other university libraries carry the journal, and then you can access the article through your university library. Okay. So let me share a category now on lecture presentations. That is on Illume Learning. And here I'm switching our term, and we are looking at the Russian Revolution. This might be a topic in a course on Russian history. I might want to view and see what is out there on the topic of Russian Revolution. Okay. So let me take a look at the lecture presentations and see what other instructors have done and provided information for. Here I can see that there are some presentations on the Russian Revolution. I can get great ideas from looking at the slideshow on the Russian Revolution. I could possibly get images and charts and just areas to cover in my course on Russian history. I could find a presentation, and I might be interested in assigning it to my students ahead of coming to my class. Okay, you might want to use the flipped classroom model in this case. So here's an example of what I found. It was pulled up on the search, on the filter, using the filter for SlideShare. SlideShare is a default database, and it's very robust. You'll find lots and lots of presentations. I can click through to see what this looks like, or I could immediately mark it for review. Let me view it right now, and here's the opening page on that presentation. I can go back and save it if I'm interested in this, and I can assign it to my students easily. Okay, I've covered a lot of the basic features so far on Illume Learning, and just remember, it's a free site. You can find it at illumelearning.org on the internet. And now let me share with you some tips on using Illume Learning. Okay. When you start to use Illume Learning, it's very helpful to go to the upper right-hand corner, and you see there is this box, View Tips for Using Illume. It's a great introductory video on how to use Illume. It's also great if you get stuck as you're using Illume and you need to just go back and get a little bit of help. Okay? Only takes a few minutes, and it's very clearly and specifically presentation of the basic features of Illume, if you forget. Don't forget when you're using Illume Learning to use the filters. They're available on the left side. They're always on the left side. You may really want to use them because they can make your search much more effective. Okay. Remember, at the top of the screen, we have a box entitled Add Your Own Material. Remember, you can save materials that you've found on other sites, pull them into Illume Learning. I really, really like this feature. You just need to pull in the URL for your material and identify the name of the material. Illume Learning also allows you to refresh your page. You go up to the upper left, you click on the logo for Illume Learning if you want to refresh your page, and it helps to restart your search. The mark for review button is on the right side of your material you've identified. This function will save your work for later. Remember, here you need to be signed in to Illume and have set up an account. This is the best way to do it. Set up your free account. It's quick and easy to do. If you don't have an account, you can't save materials in Illume. So this feature is very, very helpful. In concluding this part of the presentation, I just want to say that Illume Learning is very big. It's very robust. It's a smart site. You will find it very helpful, and I encourage you to give it a try. Take a look. Explore Illume Learning. Let me now go through a quick example of creating a syllabus on modern British poetry and show you how I can use Illume to do that. I might start my search first by looking at syllabi that other professors have used in organizing their courses and creating their courses. So I type in my search term at the top left, Modern British Poetry, and I go and click on syllabi. I look at that first. I see that there are other syllabi on my search term. I want to narrow my search with the filters on the left side, and I see that there are 3 interesting looking syllabi. They jump out at me. I want to look and view them. I go into these syllabi. I can see the complete syllabus. I can see good information on learning materials. Here's a second syllabus, and on this syllabus I can see the actual poets that are being taught in this course. Here's a third syllabus. I mark this for review after I've checked out some pages of the syllabus. So I'm in good shape, and I can, from that quick perusal of syllabi, I can develop a draft list of what I might want to teach in my course and start to organize it. Okay. Then I can go back to Illume's main page. I can look at the books category, and I can hunt for a book for my course. Okay. I can use Illume because that's one of my filters on the left. I can go into Google Books, etc., to find the best book for my purposes. Here under Amazon, I've identified the Norton Anthology of Modern and Contemporary Poetry, and I can view this choice. It looks promising. I'm going to click into it, and I see it on Amazon here. I see this anthology is over 1,100 pages long. It's priced at $46. It's not too bad. There are other booksellers besides Amazon I could look into. And this is a book I do expect my students to want to buy and keep forever. Hopefully they'll keep it forever. But if they're not able to buy it, I can go back onto WorldCat and find the university library that owns a copy of the book. I can check out the table of contents on the publisher's site, and remember that Illume provides a handy link through WorldCat to the publisher's site. I noticed that there are some holes in this book. For example, I've decided I want to cover some poems by Philip Larkin, and I noticed that they are not covered in this book. So I go back and I'm going to search for a book on Philip Larkin. Illume's book search will help me do this. I find a book called The Complete Poems by Philip Larkin. I highlight that. I can see that book on Illume. I see it's $19.25, and there are used copies for as little as $6. That's handy information. Now I want to go onto WorldCat and see if my school library has that book. WorldCat gives me much more information on the book. I go into that. I see that that I can also find presentations. I know I want to do some of Philip Larkin's poems. I've decided to do a few of his poems. One of them is called The Whitsun Wedding. And I want my students to view some slide presentations of this poem, of other poems, but this particular poem before students come to class. I can go back to Illume's main page. I can check on that slide presentation option, and I can see that there are slide presentations on this particular poem that I want to teach by Philip Larkin. Okay. I can view that slide presentation. If I want to click through it, I can see it's here. I can evaluate it. I can save it later for review. I can hold on to it if I like it. Okay. I know that my students will enjoy and get more out of the poems by Philip Larkin if they can hear a reading by the poet. I can go to videos on Illume's main page. I can find that source of learning materials under videos, and I can find a reading by Philip Larkin on this particular poem. Okay, so here's the reading. It's on a YouTube site, and it's Philip Larkin reading his poem, Whitsun Weddings. So this is a great learning material, very stimulating. Philip Larkin was an interesting person, and I feel my students should know more about the poet in order to understand his poetry. So I consider using Wikipedia to find more information on Philip Larkin. This is what Wikipedia provides in a short biography. Wikipedia is another one of the 16 categories of learning materials on Illume. Okay. In the end, I decide not to use Wikipedia, but I go back to the New York Times and I find an obituary on Philip Larkin, which is interesting, and I decide to use that in my course so I can mark it for review. Okay. So easy access to a lot of different stimulating learning materials on Illume. Okay, so we've covered a lot in this presentation. This is a great site. Remember, you can get to it by clicking on illumelearning.org. It is free. It is absolutely free. Let me review some of the important points on Illume Learning. Illume Learning offers a wide variety of features and benefits. It is free. I've said that a few times. It's a fast and easy way to find and evaluate learning materials. You can actually look right at them. It has trade books and it has scholarly books to look at. It has tens of thousands of case studies. There are articles from over 12,000 academic journals that you can learn about, you can find titles of. There are articles on from 65 leading newspapers and 140 magazines. You can have easy access to the Khan Academy videos. You can access simulations, problem sets, videos and course notes easily through Illume, and virtually anything else you might want to assign to your students. In closing, let me review that there are hundreds of syllabi on Illume Learning, and you can have access to reading lists and find slide presentations from peers around the world. The site, Illume Learning, allows you to save your materials for future review. That is such an effective feature and helpful feature for this. I want you to just remember that you can get to Illume Learning by typing in illumelearning.org. Okay. You remember that Illume is free, and it provides a lot of helpful information. There is a digital brochure on the landing page that's entitled 38 Ways to Build a Great Course. You can read that very quickly and find some useful ideas on how to put together your courses. I actually have never seen anything quite like that document. It's very, very helpful. And I would like to say that Illume Learning, because it is totally free, the company cannot spend a lot of money on marketing, and therefore is counting on its users to spread the word out there, to share this site with colleagues and peers. You can use the sharing buttons for Facebook, Twitter, and other social media. They are provided on the top and on the bottom of Illume's main pages. If you like Illume, please say so on your social media. So the next slide provides some quotes from other instructors, and I want to thank you at this point for spending this time and learning about Illume. We really appreciate your interest in the site. Okay, thank you very much.